As you can see up on the screen, hopefully here in a minute, something happened this week to us and 11 other parents' rights groups in the United States. We were added officially to the Southern Poverty Law Center's hate map. Yeah, at first I said, a hate map, and I went to their website and I clicked on other groups, and listed at the top are some pretty bad dudes, I'm not gonna lie. And I thought, are you really gonna put my headshot next to the guy with the Nazi flags doing a Heil Hitler sign? Because one of these things doesn't belong. But then I kept looking down the list, and I saw names like Dr. Ben Carson and some others, and I thought, oh, this isn't a real thing. This isn't really serious. But so it was us and 11 other groups. And here we go. Parents Defending Ed, one of the other groups that was added, she put this out, Nikki Neely, their president. She put this out yesterday. And they dug into the 1,225 groups that are counted as hate groups right now on their map. 303 of them are parents' rights groups. That means 25% of what the Southern Poverty Law Center thinks is hateful in America right now and is threatening to America is moms and dads. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. So I put up a few pictures for you to look at. Do you feel threatened and scared by this group of people? Do they look scary to you? How about these people? These people? No, of course not. It's absurd. But that's America today. This is the biggest threat, and you have to ask yourself, why? Not only why did the DOJ and FBI last year collude with the Biden White House to create a threat tag for all parents showing up at school board meetings? Why? We did public records requests and FOIA requests, and it came out that they actually were meeting behind the scenes trying to figure out how to take down parents that were speaking up for their children. The weaponization of government is in full effect against moms and dads, the people in these photos. Again, why? Why is the media, I don't know if anybody follows us in the media, but why is the media consistently and constantly putting out publications, news stories, all of them, CNN, MSNBC, attacking our organization, attacking moms, creating lies? Some of the stuff they put out is completely fabricated, and then they all start sharing it and putting it out like it's fact. We've had the full force of the federal government come after us. We've had moms where the FBI has actually called their homes and asked if they just spoke at a school board meeting, if they had a gun in their home, did they have mental health problems, and they ended the phone calls saying, don't tell anybody we called. So we have the federal government on us, we've got the media after us, and now this week we have nonprofit organizations like Southern Poverty Law Center identifying us as hate groups. Again, why? These people are not threatening. I'm going to tell you why. There's a couple reasons. One, Moms for Liberty and the parents' right movement as a whole are upsetting the balance of power in education across America, but also we're upsetting the balance of power in America. It's wild to think about, I know. It's a bold statement to say, but we're watching it happen every day. So we're upsetting the balance of power, but we're also exposing this. Failure of public education in America. Right now in America, we are in a crisis of public education and education as a whole. 2/3 of American fourth graders cannot read on grade level. We have the lowest reading scores since the 1980s and the lowest math scores since they've been tracking it in the United States of America. What does this mean for the future of our country? It's not looking very bright. What does this mean for our children, their potential? It's not looking very great. Moms for Liberty and the parents' rights movement have been exposing this. And who's accountable? Who's been overseeing public education for the last several decades? Who's had that stronghold? Teachers' unions, bingo. They have billions of dollars. They have been working for decades to get their own members elected to school boards. They have been in control of all of policies, all of curriculum, everything in public education for decades. And what's been the conservative answer to these problems. School choice. How's that working out for us so far? I love school choice. I took advantage of it a couple years ago. My son's back in public school, but he was in private school because that's what was fitting for him for a couple years. We as an organization support a parent's right to direct their education of their children at all times. Homeschool, private school, charter, public school, hybrid, do what you need to do for your child. But we've been doing that for a couple decades now, and 75 to 85% of American children are still in public education. Are we going to leave them behind? Are we going to let our youngest learners in America truly believe that at 5 years old, they can decide if they want to be a boy or a girl, neither or both, or change their mind from day to day? Are we going to let them learn for 12 years that America is a horrible place, that it's racist, that it's sexist, that it's homophobic, that it's not going to allow you to succeed? We can't do that. Get your kids out if you need to. Homeschool them if you need to, but you have to get back in this fight. Thank you. So, now that I've shown you the dismal plan of what's going on, the attacks we're under, and what's happening, I'm going to show you a little bit about hope. This is Robin Steeman. She was one of our first chapter chairs. She launched a chapter in Williamson County, Tennessee. She is a mom of 3. She stays home with them right now. They're adorable. They're 3 little girls. But one of the neatest things about Robin is she's a former B-1 bomber pilot for the United States Air Force. She's a great lady. So imagine her personality traits. Within the first 3 months of being a chapter, she had that chapter put 1,000 hours into evaluating every line of reading curriculum from K through 5 in that school district. They did what you call a red team. She had spreadsheets all around a conference room. They logged every line of concerns. And what they saw was some little nuanced things that probably aren't that big of a deal. When you saw it laid out what they were teaching kids in kindergarten, built on what they were going to learn in first grade, second grade, and when you saw the real picture of what was happening, it was not good. And actually, it violated Tennessee's law to not teach critical race theory. So Robin and her chapter members brought it to the school district. They spoke out publicly to the school district, and the school district did nothing. Nobody should be surprised. So they filed with the state a complaint because it filed state law, and the state said, probably violates it, but you were like 10 days late in filing for last year, so we're going to throw this out. So Robin, being the warrior that she is, now has a lawsuit against the school district. She will not stop. This is January Littlejohn, a mom in Florida. January is a licensed mental health counselor. She has a beautiful daughter that's 13 years old. And her daughter, the story there is, 2 years ago, the school decided to socially transition her without her knowledge. So January actually was Volunteer of the Year at school a couple years ago. They knew her well. She was an active, involved, and liked parent. However, the school decided to have a closed-door meeting with her 13-year-old daughter, where her 13-year-old daughter signed a legal document with the district that said she was changing her name, her pronoun. She picked what bathroom to use, what locker room she wanted to change in, and where she wanted to sleep in overnight field trips. The most egregious part of those documents, and they are in school districts all around the country, every state, except Florida right now because we passed a law, thanks to January's work. These documents, these policies, these procedural guides, they not only say, we're not going to tell your parents about this document you just signed. They say when we speak to your parents, we're going to use your birth name, your birth pronoun. We're going to deceive your parents. But January is a warrior. So, imagine if your family is in that crisis. You're dealing with that with your children. You don't want to go public, but January did. She took it to the school district, and when they did nothing, she worked to get a state law passed, which has been signed by our governor to protect families in Florida from this ever happening again. We got our own map. This is some hope, too. Southern Poverty Law Center has their map. We've been around for 2.5 years. We launched January 1st, 2021. The gold, the light, and all that darkness are Moms for Liberty chapters that have been launched. We now have almost 300 chapters in 45 states with 120,000 active moms on the ground. Last year, our chapters endorsed in 500 school board races across the country. They won 275 of those seats, and I want to tell you, they did it without a dollar, not a single dollar. Yay that they did it, but if they had money, imagine what they really could have accomplished. The state of California Teachers Union put $2 million in those school board races alone. Look what we're up against. But these moms are warriors. They are fighting. What our chapters do, what they've started this year, is forming legislative committees. So if they're in a state and there's multiple chapters, they are now getting together, each chapter gets a vote, and they start supporting laws that are being proposed. They help work on the legislation, and they talk to legislators about their concerns and get bills sponsored about issues they're concerned about. This year alone, 24 bills have been signed into law so far in the country, in Florida, Indiana, South Carolina, Iowa, Kentucky, Virginia, and Oklahoma. And these bills protect families, protect children, stop gender ideology, allow parents to see curriculum from school districts that are stopping it, among other things. So let's give them a round of applause, because that's a lot of work. So in closing, hopefully in my few minutes, I've laid out for you what's going on in public education in America and what's going on with parental rights in America. I've heard several people from the stage yesterday and today say we're at war. I think everybody at this whole summit agrees we are at war. And let me clarify, for when the media picks up my speech, I don't mean anybody's picking up arms. We know what kind of war this is. It's a war of good versus evil. It's a war against truth versus lies. It is a war, keep going. Some people call it a cultural war. Some people call it a spiritual war. Whatever it is, we are at war, and parents are on the very front lines because our families are under attack. Once we lose the right to raise our children, once we lose the right to direct their upbringing, their medical care, their moral and religious upbringing, once we lose that right and the government has put themselves in between that, we're done. Our families are done. This country is done. And so that's where Moms for Liberty stands. Our mission is to save America by unifying, educating, and empowering parents to defend their parental rights at all levels of government. We do that at school districts because Tiffany and I, my co-founder, were former school board members. We've seen behind the education curtain. We know how this works, and so we're able to train all these parents on how to fight back. So my ask for you all today is we need you. And maybe it's not Moms for Liberty. Maybe it's another parental rights organization in your community. But you have to get involved in this issue. The children need you. Our country needs you. This is the final line of the sand of this war. So I'm going to close on that. I'm going to tell you that we are thankful for, you saw the video that we opened with. None of those people were asked to say any of those things about us. We just went out on social and saw that people actually created videos supporting the parental rights movement. We saw that they were tweeting about the parental rights movement in defense. Those leaders in our country, and many others who just maybe didn't put out something publicly, are really taking a hard stand where we've drawn the line, and they are going to stand with parents. They are going to protect parental rights. And they are going to do what it takes to save America. So I'm asking everyone in this room to use your time, your talent, or your treasure, whatever you've got, and get in this fight with us. Thank you. God bless this movement, and God bless our great country.